great dream. Thank you very much.
After I say
Great. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Robert Koontz. I'm a candidate for Group 62 in Circuit Court. That's the only one of the 4 races that's for an open seat. My opponent is Gordo. Now, I wasn't born in Miami, but I want to tell you that I got here as fast as I could. I've been here for about 20 years, and I came here not as a lawyer, but as a newsman. I was a newspaper reporter for a dozen years. Before I came to Miami, I was a reporter primarily covering the military and law enforcement, but I came to Miami to work covering federal courts. I covered the Noriega trial, I covered a big trial called Court Broom, which was a big judicial corruption trial, and frankly got tired of people saying to me, well, if you think you can do this, you should go to law school. Well, you have to know my lovely wife who's sitting in the back there. I came home, Josie was about 7 months pregnant, and I said, hey, honey, how about if I go to law school? And she said, yes, sweetheart, let's go to law school. And that's what we did. We went to law school, and if they'd have put her name on the diploma next to mine, I'd have had them do that. I was fortunate, I was blessed, I worked very hard, and I was able to excel in law school. I graduated 6th in my class out of 340, summa cum laude. I went on to practice at a national firm called Holland & Knight. I'm a civil lawyer, and then about 8 years ago I joined a small group where I'm a partner, and we do commercial litigation. I like to say that I represent companies for money and people for free. My pro bono work is involved with domestic violence and family law. I represent women who are the victims of domestic violence so that they can get permanent petitions to keep those folks away from them. Community involvement also involves, I like to work with my hands, so I tend to do things like Habitat for Humanity. I'm not a big board joiner. Speaking of working with my hands, we have 2 sons, a 17 and a 7. And the 17-year-old just got back this week from Haiti. He was on a trip. We go to Old Cutler Presbyterian where I'm on the session, and he was on a trip with a group from church down in Haiti doing construction and teaching VBS, Vacation Bible School, to 500 kids at a time. I want to tell you, you can learn a lot about me at electdriverkoontz.com. I want to just take a minute to talk about this job. People go to court on the worst day of their lives. They're the victim of a crime, their business is in trouble, their kids are in trouble, their family is in trouble, and when they get there, what they need is someone who has an experience, a broad experience, and I'm 50 years old, so there's a certain amount of experience that just comes from that, a broad experience of life to be able to recognize and relate to them. Experience in the courtroom and experience outside of the courtroom. We're not running for criminal court or civil court or family court. As Judge Adrian explained, you go where the chief judge sends you. And over a judicial career, you will work in every division. And so it's important as you consider your vote to look at somebody who's got an experience of that. You know, I put on roofs. I was a lifeguard. I worked as a security guard when I was in high school. You want 20 seconds. You want to have someone who is going to be able to do justice every day for the people that come to them. I want to thank you so much. We go to a lot of places and bother people with this and they don't want to hear it. It's a pleasure to be in a room where people do want to hear it. The election is August 24th. electrobertkoontz.com. Thank you to Echo and to everyone else.
Good evening, I'm Michelle Gonzalez Paulson. I know that I've been able to speak to a few of you already since we were here a little bit earlier. I am running for a county court judge for Group 11. County court is the people's court. So the way I see it is in county court is where people go with their problems, with misdemeanor criminal, with foreclosures, with domestic violence, with different areas of the law, and you need to be able to know different areas of the law, not just one area of the law. When I started, before going to law school, I used to have my own businesses. I was an insurance agent. I also was an assistant administrator for a home health agency. At the age of 21, I had my son, so at that time, I decided that I was going to go back to school. So with a young child, I went back to Miami-Dade, I went to FIU, and then I went to St. Thomas Law. When I went to St. Thomas Law School, my son was 5 years old. So I wasn't able to go into the prosecutor's office or into the PD's office because of I had responsibilities with my son and I was not going to be able to do certain hours. But I was able to get the chance to go to Legal Aid Society, and in Legal Aid Society, I had the greatest opportunity to represent victims of domestic violence. I represented over 100 victims of domestic violence just as an intern, and then I was hired by Legal Aid Society. I stayed with Legal Aid Society, so I was there for about 2 years, and then I went to a private law firm, Markowitz, Davis, Ringel & Trustee, which did commercial collections litigation. Now that firm, which is funny to me because they're like family, they actually called me, and I used to be the receptionist many years ago, before even going into law school, before even having my son. I used to be the receptionist. I had gone back to them when I was a paralegal, and they also helped me and pushed me through law school. So I've always had a lot of people helping me and achieve my goals. After I went to Markowitz Davis, I asked them if I was going to be able to continue to represent people on a pro bono basis and to start a family practice. They allowed me to start a family practice at their firm. I went ahead and started the family practice, and I continued representing victims of domestic violence, and I continued to represent this community in pro bono cases. At this point in my life, I feel that it's very important. When I go in front of judges, I think it's so important, and as attorneys, when we go in front of judges, it's so important that those judges make the correct rulings, not based on our case, but based on the law. So after being in front of judges so many times and seeing that sometimes the law is not followed, or sometimes the law is only followed to the extent that they want it to be followed, I decided the only way that a person can make a change is to actually go go to the bench and try to make the change that one needs. Not a change in the law, but a change in to follow the law, make sure that the law is followed, make sure that we respect everybody that comes into the courtroom. One of the most important things that I see I've been in different cases, whether it's family, domestic violence, and all the different areas of county court, is that judges want respect, but we also have to respect all the parties that come before them. So I ask you that on August 24th, you remember and you consider me, Michelle Gonzalez Paulson, and I hope that I can count on your vote. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Albert Lazo. I'm here on behalf of my wife, Monica Gordo, who's running for Circuit Court Judge, Group 62. Monica is born and raised here in Miami. She's been a state prosecutor for 11 years. During these 11 years, she hasn't been the usual prosecutor. She's worked side by side with Catherine Fernandez-Rondo, protecting this community and protecting and safeguarding the constitutional rights of everyone in this community. She has just recently, she has won the Justice for All Award given by the Attorney General for her service to the community, and she also won the Prosecutor of the Quarter Award given by the Chiefs of Dade County Police for her distinguished service to the victims of crime in this community. She has worked tirelessly. She has been a division chief in the State Attorney's Office. Then she went to the Career Criminals Division, and now she's in the Gang Strike Force Division, bringing the worst kinds of people in this community to justice. She's going to make a great judge. She has done wonderful things. She was on the board of directors for the Cuban American Bar Association. She is now on the board of directors for the University of Miami Alumni Association. And I just ask you on the 24th of August, please